Today I'm in British Columbia in the Vancouver area to try the new Hyundai Ioniq 6. Welcome to the Torq Media channel. My name is Torq. I just got back from Vancouver where I tested the brand new 2023 Hyundai Ioniq 6. So we've been testing this new model, fully electric from Hyundai during one day or a little bit more than that in the Vancouver area. So we'll go a little bit deeper into the design, the range, how it feels, my driving impression and all that. So first of all, this new Ioniq 6 gonna compete against the Tesla Model 3. It's the bestseller from Tesla. We see them pretty much anywhere on the road, especially here in Quebec. There's a lot of them on the road. So finally, Hyundai is doing something to compete against those Tesla. So this new Ioniq 6 is based on the same platform as the Ioniq 5 or the Kia EV6 and all that. Size-wise, it's about the same dimension as a Hyundai Sonata, just to give you an example. So it's a fully electric car, so powertrain wise we can find a 77 kilowatt battery joined to two electrical engine. Obviously I've been testing the top of the line model with the big battery and the all-wheel drive system. This is good for 320 horsepower and 446 foot-pounds of torque. Once again, it's an all-wheel drive model. There's also a rear-wheel drive model available with a smaller battery. Performance-wise, you can do the 0 to 100 kilometers in about 5.1 seconds, 0 to 60 miles an hour under 5 seconds, so around 4.9. Decent time. Obviously, during my testing in the Vancouver area, I was not able to really test these numbers, but the performance felt similar to the Ioniq 5, but with more aerodynamics, I could say. And that's something I noticed about this Ioniq 6. It's really similar to the Ioniq 5 driving-wise when you're pushing it. The traction control, the all-wheel drive and all that, really similar. It feels we're really entering in that new generation of electric cars with that famous, platform skateboard, I could say, and they're gonna fit a different kind of shape on top of it. From my point of view, driving these two models, they're really similar with different shape. Even, the driving position, I was kind of disappointed for the driving position from my point of view because the Ioniq 6, it's slower to the ground than the Ioniq 5. Obviously, the Ioniq 5, it's a small SUV, sport SUV, we can call it. And the Ioniq 6, it's more like a sports sedan. I was really, feeling I was driving high off the ground, not low. And I've seen a big difference between the passenger side and the driving seats. On the passenger side, I was, feeling I was inside of a normal sedan, and when I was driving I was a little bit higher. I wish I could lower a little bit more down my seat to feel more inside of a car, and this driving position was really messing up with my head, I could say. I was not feeling I was really behind the wheel of a sedan. I was not feeling low to the ground while I was turning the steering wheel. Obviously the handling is better than the Ioniq 5, but I wish I was just lower to the ground, more connected to the car, and that's something it kind of disappoint me about the driving experience of this Ioniq 6. It was a little bit too similar to the Ioniq 5 from my point of view. Exterior-wise, this is where the Ioniq 6 is really different from anything on the market. It's one of the most aerodynamic cars made from Hyundai. I think it's the one, actually. Unique shape in the front. Really nice design, really smooth. I like the headlights and all that. We've got some massive wheels on the side, but they match really well the design. Even if with those massive wheels, they do some kind of sacrifice on the range. What's really unique about this Ioniq 6, it's really the rear end of this car. We've got some you know, a vibe from Porsche a little bit in the back. Really cool design. You know, we've got kind of like the same shape as the front end in the back end. I'm not a big fan of this. I really like a classic sedan, you know, shape, but this is all for the aerodynamics. But it's really unique. It's really different from anything on the road, and I really like that spoiler. Also, that spoiler, it's really unique. There's a lot of little details all around the design who makes it really unique, and I really like that. If we're stepping inside of the Ioniq 6, it's modern, it's easy to use, it's a little bit similar to the Ioniq 5, but more sedan-like. Nice screen, everything else, it works pretty similar to any Hyundai products, but the design is there. The seats are decent, comfortable. Once again, it's pretty weird for the driving position from my point of view. There's tons of equipment, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. The screen is easy to use. There's a place to recharge our phone wirelessly. There's a ton of USB-C connection all around in the front, in the back, and all that. Really enjoyable inside of this. I feel the inside of the doors are pretty thin. There's not a ton of space to put your arm, but I think this is part of the design, and they're trying to make more space inside of the cabin. So there's some kind of sacrifice there from my point of view. So it's pretty tight to put your arm or put anything inside of those doors, cup holders wise and all that. Stepping in the back, obviously, it's the, I call it kind of like the SUV coupe shape. It's really aggressive in the back, that aerodynamic shape. So obviously, you have to make a sacrifice on the headroom. I was not able to really fit in the back seats. My head was literally to the roof. So if you're more than 6 feet tall, I could say it won't be the ideal place for you. If you're under 6 feet tall, you're gonna fit easily in the back there. If we're looking at the trunk, once again, because we have that cool design, the trunk is not really big, and the way the trunk open is kind of quirky. It's kind of weird, but it's cool at the same time. But I think for having that aerodynamic shape, that cool design, we really have to make a sacrifice on the rear space and also on the trunk. So now let's talk about the range. If you're looking at the rear-wheel drive model, you're able to go up to 581 kilometers. If you're choosing the preferred all-wheel drive, it's good for 509 kilometers. And the model I was driving, it's good for 435 kilometers. Unfortunately, during my test in Vancouver, I was not really able to really test the actual range like I'm able to do here from my office, from my home, with a full test of a 1 week test. I could say the model we're driving, by the range and the way that we were driving up and down and all that, the car was able to do the 435 kilometers easily. But once again, we were in some ideal condition, I could say. It was not too cold, not too hot. Obviously, we had some hill up and downs and all that, but temperature-wise, it was kind of ideal for the actual battery of the car. If we're looking at the recharge time, once again, because we were with Hyundai Canada for this trip, we didn't have to experience the charging time and all that. But on paper, on a level 2, it's good for 7 hours. If you're using a fast charger or level 3 on a 50 kilowatt, 10% to 80%, it's good in only 66 minutes. And if you are able to find a 350 kilowatt fast charger, 10% to 80% in only 18 minutes. So this is pretty quick. This Ioniq 6 utilize the 800 volt platform. It's one of the best platform on the market when we're talking about the recharge time and all that, and the actual level of charger you're able to use with these platforms. Taking a look at the price, it starts around $54,999 for the base model. If you're looking for the preferred all-wheel drive, it's $57,999. And the model I was testing during my trip in Vancouver, it was good for $63,999. This is pretty decent price-wise, depending where you live. There's a bunch of incentives, especially here in Quebec. There's some major discount rebate from the government and all that. So it's going to bring the actual price down on this side. Now it's time for my pros and cons for the 2023 Hyundai Ioniq 6. First of all, pros. Cool design. The exterior design is unique. There's not a ton of cars who's going to be similar to this car on the road. So this is really cool. Same thing for the interior. The interior design is unique. It's really cool. It's different. It's not generic. And finally, it's an electric sedan. It's going to compete against the Tesla Model 3 or the Polestar 2. It's not another sport SUV like we can find by tons on the market of EVs. So that's a big plus. On the negative side, I think the Ioniq 6, it's way less practical than the Ioniq 5. So you have to make some sacrifice on the rear space and also on the trunk. And finally, I didn't enjoy really driving this car as much I was expecting, just because of the driving position. I was sitting really high off the ground and I didn't like that. So overall, I think it's cool. Hyundai, it's bringing something to really compete against the Tesla Model 3. I think it's a pretty decent contender, a solid contender, a cool design. It's different from anything you see on the road. And I really like what Hyundai is doing right now with their design. I think they're not trying to be like everyone else. They try to be some kind of a game changer on the market, and I really appreciate that. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about the Hyundai Ioniq 6? Is it a game changer? Is it really going to compete that much with the Tesla Model 3? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and we're going to see each other on the next review.